K-culture's influence continues to grow, reaching more people around the world and expanding across more genres. Here on Talk Room, we meet the people who make it happen. I'm Na Seung-yeon, and welcome to Talk Room.
저리요, 힘내.
Joining us today is Professor Park Chun-jae, a Taekwondo world champion and grandmaster, who's also inspiring a wave of the martial art in Washington, D.C. Professor Park, so glad to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We really want to talk to you about your contributions to spreading Taekwondo around the world, but especially in the U.S., which is where you're based. So let's go to the U.S. You have been teaching at George Mason University for more than 20 years, right? 22 years, is that right? Okay.
Yes, this is my 20 years of teaching at George Mason University.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. I introduced you as a Taekwondo world champion and a grandmaster, but you've also been a professor and teaching at George Mason University for so long. So are you teaching Taekwondo at the university?
Yes, I've been teaching social psychology of sports, Asian martial art theory and philosophy. For the practicum, I teach all martial arts, including Taekwondo. Yes.
What's the response of students? Are they very much interested in Taekwondo? Do they also practice it, or is it just mostly theoretical?
Yes, it's very popular. All my classes are pretty much full, waiting for some time, waiting list.
Wow.
Especially, look like I'm Korean. I am Korean. So they are very into with K waves. So they want to learn Korean culture, not only Korean martial art. That's another reason they are very much excited coming to Taekwondo classes as well.
Right. Not only do you teach the theory, like you mentioned, but of course you are a world champion and a Taekwondo master. So I think that kind of ups your credibility. But in addition to the students, I know that you also have some special students and you go somewhere else, not the university, to teach Taekwondo. You go to the U.S. Capitol.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, currently I've been leading Taekwondo Club we call U.S. Capitol Taekwondo Club, where I teach lawmakers in Washington, D.C.
Wow. So this is both senators and representatives?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you started this earlier this year, is that right?
Beginning of February, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many pupils or how many students, how many are taking your sort of Taekwondo classes right now?
Well, we started 7, 8 people, but back to 34 years, Grandmaster Jun Lee had over 300 members at Capitol Taekwondo Club. So I'm expecting have 50 at least sooner or later.
So the Taekwondo classes at the U.S. Capitol first was led by Grandmaster Lee, and he has now passed away, I imagine.
Yes.
And he held for 30 years, and you kind of revived this.
Yes.
Was it easy to revive then? How did you get the idea that you wanted to revive these classes?
Well, I got a chance to speak with Congressman Tom Suozzi from New York. He showed me genuine interest, and I felt responsibility to teach, not only teach Taekwondo, but to revive a meaningful tradition of teaching Taekwondo that once had connected between Korea and USA.
Representative Suozzi, what got him interested in Taekwondo? Was there a special reason why he got interested in Taekwondo?
Well, when the first time we talked about different things, he mentioned sports. His son would play baseball. So I told him, why don't you let him practice Taekwondo? That will enhance his performance.
Really?
Then suddenly, why don't you teach me Taekwondo? I really? Then, yes, he wanted to learn it. And after then, 3 days later, he called me. Why don't you start next week? I have 7 guys waiting for your classes. So, we started it right away.
That's amazing.
That was beginning of February this year.
Mm-hmm. And how often do you teach there?
Every Wednesday morning, once a week, at 6 o'clock Wednesday, we meet, practice together.
We're talking about 6 a.m., right?
A.m., yes.
Wow, that takes discipline just to make it there on time.
Yes, it is. Otherwise, they're not going to have time to do it.
And you said there are about 50 senators and representatives. Do they come from both sides, blue and red?
Yes.
Do they spar against each other?
Not yet. They are not quite yet.
They're not quite there at that level.
Not yet. Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah. But aside from promoting Taekwondo and at the sort of the request of Tom Swazy, I imagine there was a deeper motivation for you that you wanted to do this, aside even from continuing the legacy of Grandmaster Lee. Mm-hmm. Was there another motivation?
Well, they are a special person, as you know. Okay, to me, it's totally my dedication, and they're willing to harder because I want to keep that legacy, cultural diplomacy purpose. Mm-hmm. And this is more than Taekwondo martial art. Mm-hmm. It is about connection between Taekwondo and many other. Even their voters will get idea when they wear Taekwondo uniform. Oh, he is a martial artist, something different symbol. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to connect between Korea, USA, and sports, martial art, to politics as well.
So maybe it began in your university, George Mason, and now to the U.S. Capitol. And I hear that it's also spreading to public schools as well. So all of your efforts related to that have led to public schools? Yes.
Well, with their, enthusiastic support for what I'm trying to do, we just opened the door for public schools, elementary schools, especially beginning with, into Fairfax County Taekwondo program as an official curriculum, not just extracurricular or after-school program. I think this is first time Taekwondo become integrated to public curriculum,
program.
Yes, regular program.
So elementary students in Fairfax County, this is Virginia, I believe?
Yes, Virginia.
Virginia. Yeah. It's maybe an option. They can learn basketball, baseball, football, soccer, and they can learn Taekwondo?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
Well, when I approached to the superintendent of Fairfax County Public School System, the Taekwondo is more than just martial art. It is a great way to discipline and character building. It is not violent at all. They are worried about that. So all we overcame that obstacles. Finally, they accepted, opened the door. So I'm excited about that. We're moving forward. It's not only for Fairfax County. We are getting ready to moving forward all national scale-wide as well.
I remember also sending my son to a taekwondojang, the local taekwondojang, when he was a small boy. Everyone was doing it. I think he started around age 5 or 6. And like you said, I sent him in the hopes that he would learn how to respect his elders and also learn more discipline, self-discipline, and become strong in his body as well. But for those of our viewers who may not know Taekwondo, why would you say that it's so good and recommended not only for young kids, but even like the senators who are probably in their 50s and up there of a certain age? Why is it so important that they practice Taekwondo, you think?
Well, I think Taekwondo is much more than, just physical exercise or sports. It is a way of living. They know Taekwondo helps physically, mentally as well. That's why senators and lawmakers are practicing Taekwondo. They know that is not about. But one thing, back then, 1960s, 70s, Grandmaster Lee had a match between a Democratic and Republican Taekwondo practitioner on the ring. It was a really, really, incredible event. He made it. I still remember what happened.
Who won?
Well, I don't know who won, but it's a very simple. Taekwondo is not fighting, but it's how to harmonize each other, control themselves, become best friend they can be. That's right.
Are there any students that kind of stand out in your memory, whether they were so gifted or of a certain episode that happened? There must be some memorable students.
Yes, it's not that long we started it. However, two things that I still remember. One time there was a banquet evening, and Tom Suoji was hosting that event. Then about 20 senators, of course, a bunch of Korean delegates at the banquet. First, he asked me standing up and recognized me. This is Grandmaster Dr. Chun-jae Park. And I didn't expect that to happen. So that means he expects a lot about Taekwondo, his master. And one more thing, he was, I think, a Democratic senator. When I met at the meeting, he just suddenly 90-degree bow down. All people look at it, wow, what the person
He
was.
knew the mannerism,
Yes,
or he
yes,
was a practitioner of Taekwondo.
Yeah. So he knows what is a real manner, disciplined manner that learned from Taekwondo. So I really, proud at the time myself,
I'm sure you must be very proud. We have a special video that was actually filmed by your wife back in the US. So let's take a look at that and then continue our conversation.
Really?
Yes. Okay, there are lots to talk about. Lots of books, of course, but lots of memorabilia, I think, as well. And it kind of illustrates your long, illustrious career. Again, I saw a picture of Joe Biden, and it seems like the White House seal as well. Was that an award or some sort of certificate?
Yes, when Joe Biden was president, I got the awards for Youth Development Program. I was for teaching Taekwondo years in the United States. It was not just for a personal thing, but I think it is for all Taekwondo masters who devote their lives teaching in Taekwondo there.
But
So-
you received it as the representative. How wonderful.
Yes.
That must have been a very special day. Were you invited to the White House?
Not a White House, but at third place we did it, ceremony there.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. And then there was also a sort of calligraphy. It said 지행합일.
Yes.
And what does that mean?
지 means knowledge. 행 is doing it.
Action.
Action, yes. 합일, become, one. Integrity. Knowing without action is nothing.
Kind of like your actions should match your words, or you should carry your words into action as well?
Yes, actually, I liked very much the word. That's why I asked him, and she did actually. And we call 문무 겸비. Martial and art has to be, harmonized, well
Together
balanced.
as well.
That's one reason motivation. So 문무 means, well prepared, not just Taekwondo martial art, but has to, study literature as well. That's why I went USA, studied it, didn't give up until I get PhD.
You reached the top, PhD, yes.
Yes.
And now you're teaching, of course. I want to talk about that in just a moment. But let's talk a little bit more about the items that I saw in your study again. I believe it looked like a samurai sword. What's that for?
Sword is a symbol, force, fight. However, it has to have internal restraint. I consider sword myself. I have to keep sharp.
Keep
practice.
it sharp, hone it.
Practice, same time, learn how to control myself emotionally and be very cold in order to make a good decision.
Keep working on yourself as well and your own skills.
You can think that way.
Your journey with Taekwondo has lasted now, 50-ish years? Would that be around right? 40
I started when
plus years?
turned to 10.
You started
so
at
now
10.
50 years, 55 years actually.
Were you also recommended into your first Taekwondo class by your dad? And
No.
How did? Because 10 is, in a way, a little bit of a sort of a later age, if you think about it. Because many kids now, they start when they're much younger.
Well, back then, my father was very much, didn't want me to do Taekwondo. So I
Really?
had to hide my dobok uniform for 1 year because I didn't want him knowing it. Because if he knew, I know he's going to stop me doing Taekwondo.
So you kept it from your father for 1 year. How did you break the news to him? Was it after you won a medal, or that your master said, "Oh, he's very gifted, so he must continue"?
No.
How did that work out?
I participated in one local championship. First time, I got a gold medal, and then I showed my father, "This is gold medal." But still, until high school, he kept asking me, "Spend more time study. If you not study, you're gonna regret." I think somehow he, that gave me ideas. So I kept the balance, both Taekwondo sports, at the same time, study.
Right.
So I'm so, happy that my father, told me so many times
To keep studying,
to
don't
study,
let
yes.
go of your studies.
Yes.
But you reached the pinnacle of your sport, 1982 world champion. What was that like? I can't imagine what that felt like.
Yeah, well, it took me 18 years ever since started
started.
Taekwondo until got a gold medal. But it was almost midnight in Ecuador. On the way back to hotel, my heart was so empty. What was it? Then pop out to my mind. Okay, my father told me so many times now to study.
Continue studying.
Yeah, so I was looking for abroad, study, but at that time, very, very hard, especially elite sportsmen like me, athlete, almost impossible.
At the time, it was very difficult to really study and also practice your sport. So you must have sort of dropped your books, even though your father kept saying you need to study. You focused on your sport and you reached the top. Going to the US when you are in your late 20s, not having learned English, and now having to study for the first time in a way, I can't imagine how difficult it must have been.
Well, even though I wanted it very much, it's very hard.
Of course.
I thought I was able to speak English, but luckily, Taekwondo spirit, never give up, kept doing over again. That helped me. Actually.
The discipline, the self-discipline
Yes.
that you had internalized as an athlete helped you in this new area as well. So, like we said, you went on to earn a PhD. I think it must have been very rare for someone who came from sports to earn a PhD in the US, especially for a Korean. Very rare, or were you the first?
Well, if I correct, I'm the first individual from elite sports, got a world championship, at the same time got a PhD in USA.
It's amazing. And after getting your PhD, and like we said, you've been in the US ever since. You're teaching Taekwondo and you're spreading Taekwondo in the US. Beyond the US, as we mentioned, Taekwondo is even growing its popularity around the world. Do you still think there needs to be more done, though, to maybe promote Taekwondo on a wider scale or maybe on a deeper level? Because you are kind of like a ambassador for Taekwondo.
Well, I've been thinking that Taekwondo, we call the K-culture, started it with Taekwondo masters. They just carry Taekwondo dobok uniform where they're teaching Taekwondo and spread culture, and not only how to fight and defend. But now, since I'm trying to nationwide put the Taekwondo into public schools, I believe that will help K-culture, Hallyu, remain and longer, not just for entertainment, but spirits, Korean, wave. So that's something I expect,
You're making progress with bringing Taekwondo into public classrooms in the US, but to think bigger and dream bigger, what do you think is needed to evolve Taekwondo or to make it even grow larger on the global stage? Since it was adopted as an Olympic sport, it has gone through changes, but do you see more that could be done or more steps that needs to be taken for Taekwondo to grow further and reach more people?
Yes, lately trying to two things. Number one, as I said, with the lawmakers, Taekwondo into public schools. That's the first one. And we are already there.
Right.
And secondly, I want Taekwondo become NCAA official event. Once Taekwondo is adopted into NCAA sports, people who practice Taekwondo can get a scholarship and they can go to Ivy League schools, like basketball, football and fencing and all things like that. Then I think Taekwondo will even, have different face going to open it. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing sooner or later.
Professor, as we wind down our interview, and you have done so much to promote Taekwondo, is there a last message that you would like to leave our viewers regarding Taekwondo and your work?
Well, it's double T's, the word Taekwondo is about harmony, and harmony brings glory. Taekwondo is, people think about, struggle and fighting, but actually it's about peace. So all what I'm trying to is, self-control, but for good things for other people as well. So all people who think Taekwondo is only sports, but actually it's much more than that.
Well, I want to thank you for the work that you've doing and that you have done for the past several decades, promoting Taekwondo and its spirit and all the values that it stands for, not only here in Korea, of course, with your world champion title, but you've been doing so much to promote it in the US now and also worldwide. And I hope that you'll continue to do so.
Well, thank you. I try my best.
Thank you so much for joining us here on
Thank you.
Talk Room,
Thank you.
Professor. It's been a pleasure.